Kody and Robyn live in a world where my money is my money. The family money is my money, and Meri gets no money. That's where we're at today. And Robyn, in a clip that was released yesterday, basically said that because she had a share and she had rights in the property, she was going to take Kody legal, meaning she was going to threaten to divorce Kody over the split of Coyote Pass. And she framed it as though Meri was in a very precarious position. She was trying to take the stance that she was doing this for the benefit of Meri and that she would sue Kody and divorce him. And I've shared with you that this is a regular tactic that she's used throughout the years. I've spoken to people that know her that are aware to what's happened in the family and using threats of, if you do this for them, I'm going to leave you and take everything. Like this is how it happened when supposedly they found out that Robyn was like pilfering through the family fund and spending it like it was her piggy bank. And they wanted their money, and Robyn effectively told Kody, well, if you want to be with them and you want to take their side, I will divorce you and I'll take all of your money. And this is a threat that was used a lot by Robyn to gain the upper hand, because she knows that Kody has this like massive fear of abandonment with her and that he is like hell-bent on making sure his relationship with her sticks. That's a threat she uses a lot. I stated that I didn't believe she was acting in the best interest of Meri, and I don't believe she was acting in the best interest of Meri. I don't know if she's upset with Kody. I don't know if she really meant and wants to leave him. I do think they will get divorced. But Kody accidentally reveals Robyn. And this is why Kody brings up that when he and Meri got separated, their divorce decree stated that everything was 50-50. But that's actually not what the divorce order said. The divorce decree said that there were no marital assets to split. They had like no common property, no marital assets, nothing. So it wasn't like 50-50. It was simply, they had nothing to split. Kody moved out of the house. Meri didn't take him off the title, and he was an owner of the home. He was legally still on the mortgage with Meri, and yet he paid $0 towards that mortgage in the 4 or 5 years after he moved out, or the 3 or 4 years after he moved out. So on paper, he was a 50% owner. They were married with joint tenancies, meaning that he was, despite the fact that he hadn't lived there, despite the fact that he wasn't paying on it, he still legally had a right to 50% of the money. And so he's saying now that Meri told him that he didn't have a right to any of the money. None. Which is a lie, I'm sure. And he also slips about what he doesn't think she's due in comparison to the amount of money she gets out of Coyote Pass. And it's nuts. So let's talk about it. And then she wouldn't recognize all the money that Rob and I had put into Coyote Pass, but yet still wanted 25% of it because he was formally married to you. He feels he was due half of what the house was worth. I have never fought him on that. Oh, and so when I got the email back him, like literally just in the past week or so saying that I requested the full amount of the equity, I mean, sure, it would make sense that I would get it. Kody says that she wanted all the equity from her place and then also didn't recognize that Robyn and he put in more money into Coyote Pass. So she thought she was due 25% and they didn't. But that doesn't even make sense. And I'll tell you why. Kody is covering for Robyn right here. And he's wrong. If you watch the show, well before this happened, Kody literally contacted Janelle and told Janelle, what if we just set it all up 25 and we sell the property? And he was said on the show that he needed the money because they had just purchased a home and they wanted to get rid of Coyote Pass because they needed that money for their home, the new house they were buying. Likely he needed the money to pay down the mortgage so that he didn't have to pay $12,000 or $13,000 a month, right? And so because he needed the money to lower his mortgage payment, he was motivated and he was like, fine, let's just get it sold. And here's where his lie falls apart about how he didn't believe she was due 25. It was his idea because he needed the money. He obviously didn't talk to Robyn about it in any way or any shape form. And Kody, Meri, and Janelle come to an agreement on this land. And Kody draws the deeds for this in September of 2024, prior to the purchase of the new home and prior to the sale of Hash Knife. Right? So there's a lot happening at the exact same time. Kody is selling the house that used the money from Meri and Janelle, and he's selling Coyote Pass, which also used family money. And then he's buying a new home. Robyn thinks she's due more than 25% because legally speaking at the time before they split everything, she was, I think, like a 75% owner of all of it. Kody was on everything. Kody was on every single package. Robyn was on like 75% of it. And so they had to give percentages to be equitable to Meri because the property itself, the way it was all set up, had nothing to do with actually how it was paid for because Meri wasn't even on a loan. And yet, she gave money to pay off Coyote Pass and to pay off the loans, even though none of those loans were in her name. And they've already said a million times on the show that Coyote Pass was paid for by family money. Okay? All they would have had to do was get an accountant to look through where the money came from when Coyote Pass was bought. If it came from a shared family fund where all of them had their names on it, or it was the pool that they were talking about, Robyn and Kody can't say the money was theirs. And when they all went to pay it off, all four of them paid together. Even Meri. And so here's where I'm saying he's coming covering for her. It was Kody's idea that Meri get 25% and that Janelle get 25%. And it was Robyn who didn't sign off until March of 2025 after threatening to divorce Kody after trying to get Meri to sign an ENDA. It was Robyn who didn't think that Meri earned the 25%. Robyn, because it was Kody's idea that they all split it 25-25. And he even said that on the show. He will lie for Robyn to cover up what she does all the time. It's crazy because, I'm the only one who lived in it for the majority of the time that we owned it, and I'm the one who made all the bills. But you know what? Your name was on it, so you can have half of it. Like exactly, that's how I felt. I'm not going to fight that. Why does he have the equity? Why does he have the money? Yes, let's talk about that. Why does he have the money? If you lived in the house, you paid all the bills. Why does he have the equity to the house? That was the loan that I gave to buy Robyn's house. This is where Kody really plays into Meri's naivety as it relates to funds. Meri has routinely said throughout the years that she was not the person that handled the family finances, and she was often very ignorant to how money was being spent, because Kody was the one that did that. And then Kody also leaned on Janelle to manage the books. In fact, Janelle was sort of like the family manager. She handled all the family taxes. She handled all their paperwork and their, payments for the show, and she did that for Kody. Basically, she's the accountant for Kody. So, Meri has stated a lot that she was very ignorant about how all of this worked. But when they ended up getting a divorce because Kody didn't remove himself off the title, and he should have, he did this because he told Meri that their relationship was never really over and there wasn't a chance of reconciliation. Okay. He dangled this opportunity of them possibly getting back together. And Meri, who had this belief that she had to stay in this relationship because of the covenant and because of their faith, and because Kody is telling her that if she does certain things, they can get back together, or if things get better, they can get back together. And he, pretends to woo her and takes her out on dates, and he plays along so that she doesn't go. And during this time, it's just enough so that she doesn't actually exert her rights and ask Kody to remove himself elf from the mortgage and have the title solely in her name. This also waived any of her rights to spouse support. It waived any of her rights to, the shared assets. And quite frankly, Meri had always said that she didn't need to have 50% of everything because she felt like just because she was a legal wife, she didn't feel like she should take all the money. She felt like it was family money. Janelle has often said that Meri was always fair. And I believe that to be true. So Kody stays on that loan, stays on that mortgage, but adds nothing. And then when the home sells, he moves them all to Flagstaff, and he actually takes everyone's equity. Once those homes sell in Vegas, he almost immediately thinks he needs to buy a house with Robyn, and that's how they end up in the Hashneef home. But Kody and Robyn couldn't buy that home on their own, and they didn't have the liquid assets for it. So they needed the money from Meri and from Janelle. So they basically bought a house they could not afford with money that was not theirs. And with Kody taking Meri's money from the sale of the home, he wouldn't have had to report that as a gift because it's actually proceeds of a sale of a title that he was on. Legally speaking, he should have split it with her, but he didn't. He just took it all and put it into that home. And Meri is saying that money was a loan to them. That would mean that he had a loan with Janelle and he had a loan with Meri on a property that he didn't disclose to the lender, which is a hidden second or third, and that's fraud. And it also means that Janelle signed a gift letter because she has stated that was Kody said he would pay her back. So it was a deception that it was a gift when it was really a loan. But all of that was done so that Kody and Robyn could qualify. So they did so much mortgage fraud in order to get the Hashneef house. And so now they are in a world of hurt because all of this is getting revealed. And so they are trying their hardest to act like this money doesn't belong to anyone because it puts them in a very precarious legal situation, both with lenders and with the ears and with the federal government if they wanted to prosecute for mortgage fraud or possible tax fraud. It's super messy, and it still makes it's wild to me that they're having these conversations so publicly when if someone wanted to look into these documents like the feds or like the state, they would probably find crimes. That was the loan that I gave to buy Robyn's house in Flagstaff. That's that money. Every penny. Every penny of the house that you sold in Vegas went straight to Robyn's house. Yes, and this is something that I have agreed to never talk about, but we'll talk about it now. So, Robyn didn't believe that Meri was due 25% of Coyote Pass. And Robyn equally thinks that she should be held harmless for the money that she took from Las Vegas as it relates to her hash knife home. Do you see what she's doing there? Robyn thinks she is entitled to all of Meri's money. So Robyn believes Meri's money from Vegas that she used to buy her home. Just hold me innocent and don't sue me over that. Meri, we're going to wipe this clean. Doing so is her effort to avoid litigation. It's also her attempt to try to wash away the crime and the fraud that they had committed with the mortgage. And that's not how it works. Like, you can't use an ENDA to hide theft. You can't. And if you do, they can get completely eviscerated in court. And Meri was smart not to sign an ENDA. So think of it how we started here. Meri has no money from Coyote Pass. They were going to sell it out from under her, leaving her with like, I don't know, a 14th of the total sales. And then they also were going to say, Meri, never mind about that stock we took from you from Vegas, which I think they walked away with over a $100,000 from Vegas. And I don't know like how much of it they walked away with a good lot. Over 100,000, maybe 150,000. So she had a good chunk that she had in Vegas. And if she only gets 75% of that or whatever, it's or 50% of it, it's still $75,000, right? And then they don't want her to have any of it. You just gave that to us. That was just a gift. That was family money, Meri. We used family money to buy your house in Vegas. It's family money. So Robyn's view is Meri's money is my money. Meri's helped to find Coyote Pass or my money, and that's less than what Christine did. And when Christine left, she walked away with all of the equity on her home. But Christine got Kody to sign off the equity. In fact, it was Robyn that wanted Kody off of Christine's home. And so when he did that, legally speaking, Christine was able to walk away from it without having to give him a dime. And she agreed to just take her name off of Coyote Pass, and then he could have the land that she had contributed to. She was fine with it. So Christine was allowed to have her equity from her home in Flagstaff, but Meri's not allowed to have her equity from her home in Vegas, and she's also not allowed to have 25% of her equity from Coyote Pass. And then Robyn on top of it is the one that holds up the deal because she doesn't think it's fair. Pretends like she's trying to protect Meri, threatens to sue Kody unless she gets what she wants, and threatens to divorce Kody over this. Proving what I've said all along is that Robyn's only out for number one. Robyn only cares about herself. Robyn is not in love with Kody because if you love your husband, you don't threaten to leave him. And then Robyn also says that Kody wasn't doing the moral and ethical thing when she's the one that's not being moral or ethical because she doesn't think that Meri is entitled to any money. And at the same time, all of this was going on. Mind you, Robyn was spending, I don't know, 60 grand in 2 months on doll clothes. Yeah. Between like December and like February of last year, she spent like, I don't know, 30 grand a month on doll clothes and dolls. She had the money to give to Meri. She could have just forgone her stupid doll stuff. But if she has to give the money to Meri, she doesn't have the money to obsessively shop to feed the soulless addiction that she has because she has a miserable existence, hates her husband, and fills the void by shopping and doesn't get help. Robyn is so cunning and so evil, but so is Kody because Kody is willing to lie for her. Kody was willing to be fair. So Robyn throws Kody under the bus yesterday and says he wasn't being decent. He wasn't being fair when she was the one that wasn't being moral, and she wasn't the one being fair. Kody covers for Robyn and says he didn't believe Meri earned 25% of the property, even though that was what Robyn was saying, because he had already agreed to the split. I don't think Kody knows that he made a deal with the devil, and Robyn is literally a con artist. I don't know that he knows this. I think he's been completely bamboozled and he is in over his head. Tell me what your ideas are in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't signed. And please click the bell so you never miss a movie. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, bestie.